Welcome back to another Law Talk Baby, where we turn up the heat on the legal battles that are actually deciding how America runs. No spin, no filters, just straight facts. Not from one side or the other, but right down the middle. Constitutional deep dive and real-time stakes for our country. So let's get to it. I'm Aaron Borders. Today, we're absolutely locked and loaded, and the courts are on fire with cases that hit the core of government accountability, judicial independence, and who gets a vote and how in the next election cycle. These aren't sleepy law review articles. They're live wire fights with massive implications for transparency, power balances, and representative democracy itself. So let's dive in hard. First up, we're going to talk about the Freedom of Information Act, or better known as FOIA, and how the courts are having to step in. For those who don't know what this act is, it was enacted in 1966. FOIA is supposed to be the public's crowbar to pry open federal agencies' records, and once the request is made by the public, the government has 20 business days to respond. No excuses. But right now, agencies are saying that they're drowning in backlogs, so their excuse is staff cuts, resource crunches, you name an excuse, they're making the excuse, and they're blowing right past deadlines, like it's optional or something. The courts are stepping in and they're saying, hold up, that's not how the law works. Multiple federal judges are dropping big bombs stating that staffing shortages do not excuse statutory violations. Period, full stop. If Congress set a 20-day clock for the executive branch, they must meet it. And if they don't, they're going to get sanctions or maybe even worse, jail time. This is pure separation of power gold. Congress demands transparency, the executive branch drags their feet, and judiciary has to step in to enforce the law with teeth if necessary. Listen, folks, journalists, lawyers, citizen watchdogs, this is a tool that they use to get information about their government and to expose government corruption. So really what happens next is going to hang on these rulings by these judges. The fight is intense. The backlog is massive from what we're being told and from what the complaints are, but the courts are drawing a hard line. Transparency is not a suggestion, folks. It's the law. As it stands right now, federal courts have now told the executive they must comply or else. So let's see what they do. Now we're going to jump into this next story, and I'll tell you what. Some of our stories are the mainstream stories. Some of the stories that we talk about are ones that slip through the cracks. And let me tell you, when you hear about this one, it might get you a little heated. This story has been going on for 3 years. Here's the facts. Judge Pauline Newman, 98 years young, sitting on the U.S. Court of Appeals of the Federal Circuit for decades, appointed by Ronald Reagan, has been suspended from hearing cases by her own circuit's Judicial Council over concerns of her ability to perform her duties mentally and physically. Think about that. They want her to go to a doctor that they choose, not her own doctor, and she is saying, no way. She's fighting back hard. Her argument is that Article 3 says federal judges serve during good behavior and can only be removed by impeachment and conviction in Congress, which neither have happened, not by internal council vote. She says that the suspension is effectively a removal in disguise. She's been sidelined, folks. She's 98 years old and has been fighting this for 3 years, and she is sharp. She says this violates judicial independence at the constitutional core. I say it's a loophole, and so is she, actually. She don't even get to defend herself. That's what's crazy about this. The judge in her circuit who have suspended her, they counter that they need tools to handle judges who can't function, even if it's not for misconduct. They say that self-governance among the judges matter. Judge Newman, well, let's just face it. She feels like this is just a backlash because she's been known to be a dissenting judge who rattles the cages, who often has dissents that go against her fellow judges. And some of her dissents have made it all the way to the Supreme Court and upheld. She has expressed that these judges in her circuit just don't like her. So they're using ageism to say that she's just not all there. and she needs to be sidelined. She can't perform her duties. Well, then they should impeach her. But if they did, that would give her a chance to defend herself, and they do not want to go against her. She is too sharp for that. So they've suspended her, leaving her with zero recourse, or a hearing even. Outrageous. This is blockbuster constitutional drama. The question is how far can the judicial branch police itself without crossing into Article 3 violation territory? If this escalates, and it's heading that way, it could land directly in the Supreme Court, redefining the limits on judicial accountability versus lifetime tenure. Judge Newman is not backing down, and good for her. The results in this case have high stakes for the entire federal bench. This is a must watch, and we will keep our eyes on this. And I will tell you, I'm rooting for the judge. The midterms are months away, and I'll tell you what, voting rights are in the crosshairs. Multiple states are getting hammered in federal court over the new laws that they've enacted. Mail-in voting rules, ballot drop box rules, signature matching rules, ballot counting and chasing deadlines, voter ID matches is another big one. Listen, the whole voter integrity playbook is on trial at this point. Now, according to voter polling, it's an 80-20 issue. Most voters want voter integrity. That's kind of a no-brainer. But politically, it seems to be breaking along party lines. And on top of the states issuing their rules, we have the Save America Act in the U.S. Congress that kind of doubles down on a lot of these rules, voter ID expressly. On the more pro-strict rule side, the Republican side, they say this safeguards and protects election integrity and rebuilds public trust. On the Democrat side, they're saying that this disproportionately burdens voters and is potentially violating the Voters' Rights Act or equal protection or creating undue burdens under the Anderson verdict framework. So they have their fight too. If this act passes, lawsuits are sure to be coming in from all angles in many states. And judges are going to be forced to really juggle two constitutional truths. A, states have a broad Article 1 and Article 2 authority to run elections. B, they can't cross into disenfranchisement or unequal treatment. Historically, the Supreme Court, however, has given states wide latitude, but also stepped in when rules are gone too far. With midterms looming, these cases are accelerating. Expect emergency injunctions, briefs and be submitted, and appeals to be flying in, and you name it, shadow dockets happening. It's going to happen, and lawyers are going to be making lots of money and making lots of arguments. Whichever side wins, these fights, they literally shape our whole voting landscape. Who gets to vote, how they get to vote, what are the rules on voting. The battlefield is really opening, and the arguments are fierce, and the Constitution is getting tested in real time. And that's what we love to cover right here on Law Talk with AB, and keep you informed on what is going on in every sector of the law. These three battles, FOIA deadlines getting enforced, 98-year-old judges taking on her own circuit, and election rules heading for courtroom Armageddon, so to speak, well, they show exactly how the system was designed to work. Aggressive action meets judicial scrutiny. Transparency, well, it gets teeth. Independence gets defended. And power, well, it gets checked. What do you think? Are the courts finally forcing real accountability, or are they overstepping? Drop your hottest takes. I read every single one, and I really enjoyed your feedback. If you like what you're seeing, smash that like button, share it, subscribe, hit the little bell so you can get the next show, and I will catch you in the next episode. This is AB. I'm out.